I hope everybody's doing well tonight. Today's message, I will be talking about a backsliding believer and what does the full weight of sin mean for us? What does the wages of sin is death? What does that mean? I'm gonna discuss that tonight. So, sin makes us lonely because it separates us from God. 1 Chronicles chapter 22, verse 17 through 19 is David also commanded all the leaders of Israel to help Solomon his son, saying, "Is not the Lord your God with you? And has he not given you peace on every side? For he has delivered the inhabitants of the land into my hand, and the land is subdued before the Lord and his people. Now set your mind and heart to seek the Lord your God. Arise and build the sanctuary of the Lord God, so that the ark of the covenant of the Lord and the holy vessels of God may be brought into a house built for the name of the Lord." So our sin, our iniquity, is a premeditated form of sin or perverseness, wickedness, a deliberate twisting of what is righteous and good. Basically, it's like when you're aware of the sin that you're engaging in, the sin that I engage in, when we're aware of it, that it's sin, that it brings death, right? Regardless if we fully comprehend what that really means, right? Because we think death and we think like life, just our life being over, right? Our physical life being over, our earthly life being over, right? But what I really want to talk about for a moment here is spiritual death, okay? Because for the wages of sin is death, and there are ways that seem right to a man, but its ways and means are death. Okay, so spiritual death, what does that mean? So just the other night, maybe a month or so ago, I was having this dream, this really vivid dream, where I was just staring at the floor in front of me. And I don't know how to quite explain it, but I had this awareness that I had complete separation from God. That I had went too far and I didn't make it into his grace. I missed the cut. Another thing I want to talk about is the next generation, right? Because God, he talks about a lot in the Bible when he's preparing his people. When he's preparing his people of Israel, he talks about the next generation, the future generations to come. And with that, I want to talk about generational trauma and generational curses. So if you're like me, and if you've been attacked since you were a little girl or you were a little boy, it hasn't been coincidental. It hasn't been because you were an easy target. It's been because if we ever got over our own sin and the sin of our fathers and the fathers before him and our mothers and vice versa, then we could get over to that light, stay in the light, and be truly children, daughters and sons of God, right? Not just children of the devil who engage in sin, who engage in sexual immorality, lust, anger, unforgiveness, pride, rebellion, all of those things. You know, I think sometimes we give the devil just too much credit for everything. We give him too much credit. But something I learned was, what can the devil take first without having an invitation? He needs to be invited in. So something else I wanted to share, and this is part of Tony Evans' book on spiritual warfare. So Satan's strategy is just like any excellent military commander or athletic coach. Satan has a strategy, a game plan for accomplishing his agenda. One of the devil's main tricks is to cause you to miss the goodness of God, as he did with Eve in the garden. Satan wants to get you to question the value of all the trees that God has provided you by getting you to focus on the one tree that he has said to avoid, right? Which is the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? The one they could not touch, the one they could not eat. So, Satan wants you to complain about what you don't have, so you will lose sight of what God has given you. However, God instructs us how to counteract this scheme in Philippians 4:6-8. So I'm going to look that up real fast. Philippians 4, verses 6-8.